Maybe now it's better. Can you hear us clearly now, maybe?
Yes, very good.
Okay, that's great. So we're going to discuss we're going to start this discussion with Elene's presentation, and then we're going to go to Antonia and talk about the DAFA Festival and everything around digital arts. And we would like your help to continue this discussion, to make it a broader panel in order to have a very interesting conversation. So Eleni, if you're ready, you can start about you and your presentation. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay, please let me know that you can see it. Okay, so hello everyone. I'd like to thank you for having me here today. And it was very inspiring to follow also the previous presentations. It's actually an excellent initiative from Reworks and Sfera to create this Agora. I'm going to share with you some key parts of my creative practice, and then we can go to discussion. I'm an interaction designer and media artist, and I'm based in Athens. I'm working with creative technologies and multimedia to create interactive installations and performances that try to bridge the physical and digital world. In my practice, I'm trying to reflect upon current technological systems and their power in shaping the world, imagining possible futures and laying the foundations for mutual coexistence with the more than human ecosystems. What's important for me is to create work of open interpretation for the audience. I'm very interested to invite the participants to a multi-sensory experience, engaging them to read the work from different angles. My practice is characterized by interdisciplinary approaches, always starting from research and scientific references on different discourses such as identity, phenomenology of perception, and embodied intelligence. So inspired by the aesthetics and the storytelling of mythology, literature, philosophy, I begin to create a speculative scenario that expresses my reflection on situations we experience, and also the projection of this situation in the future. I want to share with you two of my projects. The first one is called Symbiosis. When I started Symbiosis, I was very interested to explore studies around perception. So I started with Plato's allegory of the cave. The prisoners who have lived chained to the cave all of their lives perceive reality as the shadows projected on the wall of the cave. If we bring this Platonic notion in a modern context, such as virtual reality or mixed reality, etc., I try to explore how digital technology affects the perception and the construction of experiences. So I speculate and I say, what if there was a machine that could give you any experience you desired, like to be a great dancer or write a novel or fly? Should we plug in into this machine for life, pre-programming our life experiences? So the thing is that the experiences we live through our senses and through the participation of the body are more intimate than a constructed and simulated experience. This means that our skin is like the eyes of our bodies, and our bodies remember who we are. And a disembodied experience, that, like the one I described, like a passive observation, lacks authenticity. The next project I want to share with you is Tiresias. We inspired by the blind figure from the Greek mythology who has lived both as a woman and as a man, and he could also predict the future. And we created a non-anthropomorphic figure that tried to find its identity, developing a dynamic partnership with a human co-performer trying to avoid dualities of the physical, the mechanical, the digital, the analog. The robot interacts with the dancer through sound sensors and reacts to the sounds that the dancer creates. In this way, one learns from the other and seems like respecting each other and becoming a team, thinking beyond binaries and dichotomies of human and non-human worlds and embracing diversity. For me, Tiresias is not just a tool. It's like a co-performer that comes together with a dancer to explore new ways of moving. And he also acts like a contemporary prophet, inspired by the story of Tiresias. What we try in this way to observe the way that artificial intelligence predicting systems work. But at the end, all we see and all we hear from Tiresias is an absence of knowing. The machine has no idea what it's talking about, and the predictions lack the human cognition and consciousness. I want to conclude. So in my practice, I'm pretty curious to explore these new aesthetics that derive from my engagement with computational systems, and to present a perspective of these systems that take away the power they have, interacting with them in a more thoughtful way, like we're a team, like an aggregate, like we're collaborators. And the thing is that we live one crisis after the other in a world that we didn't decide to build in this way. However, we live in this world, and we need to find ways for a more sophisticated understanding of this world. Thank you very much.
So, hello, welcome. On behalf of all the Athens Digital Arts Festival team, I would like to thank you for the invitation. When we talked with Vangelis, we said that maybe we shouldn't have a proper presentation but now that I saw Eleni's presentation, I thought that it's not a very wise decision that we made, but so I will try to be as much interesting as I can. So my name is Antonia Pilarinos. I am the video art curator and the director of international tributes at Athens Digital Arts Festival. I have a background in art history with a focus on new media and video art. I have worked with many contemporary art galleries and private collections in Athens. But here today I am representing the Athens Digital Arts Festival, which in a very short presentation, it's an annual celebration of digital arts. It started nearly 17 years ago in 2005 as Athens Video Art Festival, and in 2012 the name was changed into Athens Digital Arts Festival. We have a very broad program covering all forms of digital artistic expressions, such as video art, animation, VR, AR, artificial intelligence. We have performances, but we also have talks, workshops, international tributes. And of course, every year we present our network of festivals of the world. We present works from more than 70 countries around the world every year, and we are still loyal to our initial aim, to our initial purpose of familiarizing the audience with new media and digital culture. I think that, yeah, from us.
First of all, if anyone has a question, of course, you're welcome to do so. I would like to ask also Antonia, but Eleni as well, what's the process of creating art with technology, for example? Do you start by knowing what you want to use when you go to creating a technology installation as symbiosis, as you said? Or do you just start by painting or creating on your mind the subject that you want to project, or the painting that you want to have, or the installation that you want to have, and then you start by searching ways to do it? What's the process between all these? This is my question for you, Eleni, at first, and then Antonia, if she wants, she can answer as well.
Thank you for the question. So every time is a different process, of course, but I can find a pattern that I have many times, which starts from research. So I read stuff and then something stuck in my mind. And I'm trying to find a way somehow to intervene in the theme I want to create. So it's not like always mandatory to use technology, but it happens to somehow combine it. And what is happening is that one example, I want to research about the virtual reality systems. I try to see how they work, or if I want to learn about artificial intelligence and computational systems, how they function, I try to see their architectures and then see how I can use them, not like tools I said before, but like the collaborators, to create with them new narratives and new methods of producing work of art. So that's why I kind of feed these systems with data, and then they create their own narration. And I find it very interesting because the narration they create, or the way they move from the data they receive, it's many times very unexpected. They have this kind of randomness, and they're unpredictable. So every time you watch the performance, you see a little bit different performance. So that is how I see the creative process, like trial and research.
I'm afraid that I cannot answer the question as an artist. I don't know the process like Eleni does, but I can give you maybe a perspective of the curator's point of view. There are many cases that we see works of art that use technology as not as a medium of expression, of artistic expression, but as a purpose. For example, artists that do want to work with a certain technology, but they, in a way, leave aside the aesthetic result, the aesthetic outcome. So I agree with Eleni that there is this research behind every attempt, and with technology, it is something that is new, that is evolving, constantly evolving. But I believe that what makes the difference is the purpose behind.
So this is a question for Antonia as well, but what do you think is going to be the next big thing on technology when creating, or when curating actually, an art installation? How do you think it's going, what do you think is going to be the next big thing? Because so what do you think is going to be the next big thing? For example, Eleni is very interested in data, if I'm not wrong. Eleni, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But what do you think is going to be the next big thing? For example, we've seen art with AI, art with VR, art with artificial augmented reality, etc., etc. What do you think it's going to be the next step?
Yeah, so I see. Actually, I find it very interesting about like how you can bring in an exhibition place real-time data from outside, or for example, like ADAF is doing right now, that they create exhibitional spaces online. From my personal experience, something that happened in I've never thought that it may happen with symbiosis, for example. It was when I watched the reaction and the engagement of people with disabilities with my work. Because in symbiosis, I have created some objects that vibrate, and through the vibration, you feel the connection with the dancer. So a person with a disability, or like a blind person, can watch a dancing performance, which is mainly visual performance, through haptic sensations such as vibrations. And this is how technology help to be more inclusive, the art to be more inclusive. So this is something that is relative with my practice, and I see it with mixed reality to become more the future.
That's a very difficult question to answer. I don't know if I can give you a direct answer to that, because I think that VR, AR, immersive installations, technologies are still evolving. It's not something that has been done. We're not through with this. New possibilities come and reveal every day. So I believe that we should first learn how to work with these technologies and explore their full possibilities before we start talking about future or futuristic technologies. I believe that we still have a lot to see. But please ask any questions you might have. You must have questions.
I might help kickstart the conversation because I understand that we're all shy at first. I would like to give a definition of what is, let's say, in the new arts using technology, for example. What is video art? Let's start by saying this, because in ADAF, as far as I know, you have a lot of, not sections, a lot of categories on it. So shall we give a definition for it, just so we know what we're talking about? Because I think most of us really have a very confused idea of what new arts is, of what arts that create artists that create art with technology do. We just realize, when we see it, and we don't realize the process behind it. So could we give a definition of, for example, what video art is, of what any other possible new art is? Quite broad.
Okay, so this is a very academic question. Video art is the art of moving image. I don't think that it has a meaning to give a definition, to define it, not at this context at least, because I think that it will take time. But in any case, it is a very, what people might not know is that it is a very old form, artistic expression. It started in early 50s, actually, and it keeps evolving. It has many, many categories, as you said. And in ADAF, we try to present and represent all of them. It is our oldest and maybe more popular category. This year we had 1,500 submissions from 70 countries around the world. So it is a form of art that has taken its place now. So I don't think that defining it would now offer something, because it has taken its place in academies and fine art schools. But I think what is very interesting, and what I would like to ask and listen to what Eleni has to say, is that this big data working with big data, not only in a work, but also live, like collecting live data and projecting it somehow in your works, if I may.
Mhm. Of course, of course. So it's a big thing. I mean, it's also somehow like the negative side of this evolution of the technology, the misuse of this data. Because, I mean, the technology we create and the data we used, all of these are a result of of a human creation, of a human decision. And this means that it has some kind of subjectivity inside them. And that's why big data have been used, and they are many times characterized are biased, and that they produce false information. For example, they produce rumors, gossip, fake news, and that's because people in power or in positions of in politics or in business in this way can manipulate like the public opinions through this plethora of misinformation or to weaponize the social media. And that's why as an artist, when I use technology, it's very important, and when I use data to like highlight these aspects. That's why when I use technology and data, I also try at the same time to demystify them, to develop technology in parallel with some ethical responsibility, and also to encourage the engagement of the audience with these topics. Because I mean, people are also for myself, we are obsessed with technology. We live in an era that we rely on it, and we believe that every problem can be solved through the computational means. So we fill our lives with smart devices. For example, I can go out of the house without my GPS. But this means that we reduce our cognitive process and our effort, and we're very addicted to socialize online that distract us from live the moment and like socialize with people face to face. And this is something that interested me, the fact that our digital body is always somewhere connected on the internet. So it's like a modern cave of Plato, that we live a reality that is distorted inside this pool of data. And there is this disembodiment that the body is disconnected from the physical body. So yeah, we need to reconsider these like data obsession and hazard is in this technological universe.
If I can add something to what Eleni just said, is that working as an artist with technology mainly consists of criticizing the mediums and the means that are being used, which is something quite new, because in traditional art forms like sculpture or painting, it's not the medium that is being criticized, but in new media, in digital arts, it's usually the starting point when for an artist to start working with a certain technology is to criticize it. Is the same, exactly the same that happened with video art, like you mentioned before. It was the first connection of video art with television at the time. So it was a way for the artists to criticize the television, because it was they would share their projection medium. So it is the same with data, and I think that all the or most of the digital or the technological works rise ethical issues. They are always a very good starting point for conversation. Like for AI, for example, I mean, we could talk for hours for how it is developed, exactly like the big data, gender issues. I don't know if Eleni wants to add something to that.
Mm. No, I think you covered it. I mean, I'm going to repeat the same thing because they're very specific, and some of them are very controversial. And we have to say also the positive side, of course, that they have helped in many things, and it's a bless to have technology and create work with this. But we really need to reflect. Also, as Vangelis asked before, maybe with cryptocurrency, this is going to be like the next big thing, that it's also like a debatable issue. Yeah.
I think we covered everyone.
Are there any questions, maybe? General questions, whatever you want to learn about arts, technology? No. Okay, then I think we will wrap it up. Thank you so much, Eleni. Thank you so much, Antonia. And hope we will see some of your exhibitions very soon. Hopefully. Also, would you like to tell us about the last thing that I would like to ask? Eleni, are you going to present one of your works very soon? And where and when can we watch something of yours?
I haven't like an exhibition schedule, but I'm involved in some scenography works, and I can share with 3 works if you are interested. It's contemporary dancing performances that they go into intermedia and multimedia, so they combine like interactive visuals to change the scenography, to augment the physical structures, and to combine with the dancers that transform different mediums of the stage.
So it's the same for us, I guess. We are already online. Our online edition this year's festival is a hybrid edition. So the online edition where you can see all of the works is on online at af.gr. You can always look it up, and everything is free and accessible. And on the 13th to 17th of October, we are going to have our first physical exhibition again after 2 years in Athens. And we talked about it's official now since last night that we will be hosted in the Museum of Modern Greek Culture in Plaka. It was a hidden gem that we are very happy and proud to be hosted there. So if in Athens, visit. Otherwise, you can always see the works on our website.
So I would like to thank. Okay, so I would like to thank Eleni and Antonia, and thank you very much for connecting. And I hope we will see each other very soon in a physical exhibition, hopefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Also, in about 10 to